Okay, hello, good morning, and welcome to our webinar this morning. Welcome to all of our agents out there and all of our in-zone agents joining us for our webinar today. My name is Chad Strano, a brokerage manager over here at Penny Insurance, and I'm going to be hosting you guys today as we cover disability. Before I get started with the presentation, I wanted to talk a little bit about our internal A-team and what they do over here at Penny. So if you'll allow me to go through that really quickly, then from there we'll transition into the webinar. So why we built the A-team. Life insurance opportunities rarely disappear because clients lack interest or because solutions aren't appropriate. More often, strong cases slow down or fall apart due to the operational demands required to move them from conversation to placement. Gathering client information, completing applications, and managing requirements, coordinating underwriting, and maintaining follow-up can quickly become overwhelming. Even highly successful producers often find themselves pulled away from revenue-generating activities just to keep cases moving forward. When follow-up becomes inconsistent or timeline stretched too long, momentum fades. Clients become distracted, decisions are delayed, and opportunities that should have resulted in placed business are lost due to process rather than strategy. The solution, the Penny A-team. The Penny A-team is a dedicated group of specialists designed to function as an operational extension of your practice. Once you identify an opportunity to make a warm introduction, the A-team helps manage the implementation process from start to finish. This includes guiding the client through the application process, coordinating underwriting, and supporting the path to policy approval and delivery. So how the A-team supports your business. Assist with the help lead client conversations when needed to ensure clarity and professionalism. Manage application completion and documentation requirements to reduce administrative burden. Coordinate with carriers and underwriting teams through an experienced case management group with 45 plus years of combined experience. Track requirements, monitor progress, and maintain consistent communication throughout the underwriting process. Proactively follow up to keep cases moving towards approval and placement. And what that means for the agent. Spend less time managing paperwork requirements and carrier communication. Stay focused on high value activities, building relationships, advising clients, and identifying new opportunities. Maintain full ownership of the client relationship while the operational team works behind the scenes. Improve case momentum, placement rates, and overall client experience. Scale production without hiring any additional internal staff or increasing operational complexity. The goal, help agents place more business, create a smoother experience for clients, and enable advisors to scale their practice efficiently and sustainably. So with that being covered now, I will jump into our webinar this morning. Protecting income that powers every financial plan. Approximately 1 in 4 adults, and I'm going to cover some disability insurance facts just at the top before we dig into more of the content. Approximately 1 in 4 adults in the U.S. live with a disability. That's an alarming number. Women are more likely to have a disability than men. Disability prevalence increases with age. The employment rate for people with disabilities is significantly lower than those without disabilities at around 22.7 versus 65.5 in 2004. Eligibility is strict through SSDI and claims take time. SSDI benefits can leave a large income gap. A few more facts on the next slide. Approximately only 35 to 40% of employees have access to disability insurance through their employer. According to a 2024 study by Limra, only about 18% of consumers have disability insurance, likely because they don't realize they need it, or they don't realize the need for it, or they don't know if they can afford it. 18%, that leaves a lot of people uncovered. Only 18% of consumers recall being offered disability insurance, and the same percentage recall having it. So we're not getting the word out there nearly enough to our clients and consumers. So we'll start with why disability insurance belongs in the discussion. Well, disability insurance protects the client's most valuable asset, their ability to earn income. When you position it this way, it stops feeling like an optional product and becomes a foundational part of financial planning. A concise way to frame it early in the presentation. Everything we're planning, retirement, savings, lifestyle, depends on your income continuing. Disability insurance is what keeps the plan alive if life throws a curveball. When to integrate disability insurance into your presentation flow. Let's discuss a few examples. When discussing risk exposure, use simple and relatable data. The majority of disabilities are caused by illness, not accidents. Many last long enough to disrupt savings and retirement plans. That's scary. This helps clients understand that disability is a financial risk, not just a health risk. Another opportunities when illustrating scenarios. Use short, realistic examples. Imagine you're out of work for 9 months due to a back injury. Your mortgage, car payment, and daily expenses continue. Disability insurance steps in to replace a portion of your income so your financial plan stays intact. Keep scenarios grounded and non-sensational. Another opportunity is when showing the numbers. Present simple, high-level comparisons. Monthly premium versus monthly income protected is one example. Cost of coverage versus cost of dipping into savings is another. Impact on long-term goals if income stops. Clients respond well when they see the value to cost ratio clearly. And that goes with anything. They want to make sure they feel like they're getting value. Some techniques that make the message resonate. Tie it to their goals. This protects the retirement plan you told me is your top priority. Got to hammer that in. So that's in their brain when you're presenting. Use their own words. Reflect back concerns they shared earlier in your conversation. Keep it conversational, avoid jargon, focus on outcomes. Normalize the purchase. Most professionals I work with include disability coverage as part of their core protection. A simple structure you can use. Open with income as the foundation and identify a few risks to that income. Quantify the impact of a disability. Introduce disability insurance as a solution. Show how it integrates with the rest of the plan. And then present your options and next steps. Okay. How disability insurance supports personal financial planning. Disability insurance is essentially income replacement, which makes it a core pillar of long-term financial stability. Its impact shows up in several areas. Cash flow continuity. Your income is the engine of your financial plan. If it stops, everything downstream, savings, investing, debt repayment, lifestyle spending, is disrupted. Disability coverage keeps that engine running. Protection of long-term goals, retirement contributions, college savings, mortgage payments, and investment strategies are all depend on steady earnings. Disability benefits help prevent derailing those goals during a health setback. More on how DI supports personal financial planning. Preservation of assets. We work so hard to acquire assets. Without income protection, people often liquidate investments or tap home equity to stay afloat. Insurance helps avoid forced asset sales at the worst possible time. Debt and credit protection. Maintaining loan payments prevents credit damage and keeps financial options open for the future. Family security. For households dependent on one or two incomes, disability coverage stabilizes the entire family's financial ecosystem. In personal planning, disability insurance is less about replacing a paycheck and more about protecting the entire structure built on that paycheck. Okay, how disability insurance protection supports business continuity. Key person continuity. If a key leader or revenue driver becomes disabled, the business may lose assets, sales, or operational capacity. Key person disability insurance provides funds to hire temporary talent or offset lost revenue. Owner income stability. For owner operators, personal disability income is inseparable from business health. If you can't draw income, the business may be forced to change operations, sell assets, or take on debt. Buy-sell funding. Disability buy-sell insurance funds a buyout if an owner becomes permanently disabled, preventing disputes, liquidity crises, or forced sales. How DI protection supports business continued. Sorry for the typo at the top there. Business continuity. Overhead expense protection. Business overhead expense disability insurance covers fixed costs, rent, utilities, payroll for non-owner staff, so the business can stay open while the owner recovers. Employee retention. A business that can continue paying bills and maintaining operations is far more likely to retain talent during the owner's absence. Lender confidence. Banks often view disability coverage as a risk mitigation factor when extending credit to small businesses. In business continuity planning, disability insurance is less about personal income and more about keeping the enterprise viable long enough for recovery or transition. Integrating both of those strategies into the process, personal and business. A simple framework many advisors use are protect personal income, individual disability income insurance, protect business operations, business overhead expense coverage, protect ownership structure, disability buy-sell funding, protect key roles, key person disability coverage, align benefit periods, definitions, and waiting periods across personal and business policies to avoid gaps or overlaps. This creates a coordinated safety net that supports both your household and your company. As we get through that, here's a few of our top carriers on the board here for disability: Assurity, MassMutual, Principal, Peterson. I'm sure many of you on the call have heard of them. And some of what they, a little chart here on what some of them offer and what some don't. Assurity at the top, as the X's will illustrate, focus on short-term disability, long-term disability, graded benefit disability, business overhead expense. MassMutual is, and that's more of your blue collar disability with Assurity. Wanted to mention that. MassMutual is more white collar. Long-term disability, business overhead expense, and buy-sell or buyout. principal, long-term disability, business overhead expense, buy, sell, or buy out, key person, business loan protection, and executive carve-out. And then Emeritus for long-term disability. Are your clients business owners? That's often the case. Great question to be asking. Business buy-sell disability. What if one of your client's business partners becomes disabled? Find out how buy-sell disability insurance can help. Overhead. If your client is disabled, who pays the equipment leases, rent, and employee salaries while they're out of work? Sole proprietors with employees are especially vulnerable. Get the details at the link above. Let's say key employee. Let's say your client's best employee becomes permanently disabled. What happens to the business your client worked so hard to build? Help them protect what they've built with key employee disability insurance. Some closing thoughts. Establish the need. Share real life stories if you have them. I have one in my own household. I'm sure many of you out there also do. Targeting the right prospects. Well, as the illustration showed us earlier in the presentation, almost 80% of people don't have disability coverage, so the prospects are huge. Cross-selling, cultivating centers of influence. Have the conversation. Work disability into your presentation. Make it a habit. And the more conversations you have, the more opportunities are going to present themselves to all of you. Once again, my name is Chad Strano. I'm the brokerage manager over here at Penny Insurance. And now's the time for questions if there are any.
Yep, we had a few questions come in. The first question is, what are the most common objections?
Well, you're always going to have the affordability objection. You know, how does that fit in to my budget? And that's why I kept going back through the presentation to really hammer the point home that, you know, if you get disabled, the coverage is going to keep your income stable so that you can keep everything afloat. So finding a way to get it into your budget, in my opinion, is critical, because without it, if something happens to you, all of your financial plans are going to start to implode. So affordability is definitely one. Not understanding exactly how it works, how they're covered, what they're covered for, all of the ins and outs is usually another objection. Another objection is they think that they will be covered through something from their job, or they'll think that the government will jump in and cover them through disability too. In some cases they may, but as we looked at earlier in the presentation, that's not always the case.
Yeah, I mean, disability, it seems like a good opportunity for agents. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. It's something I would have. It's something that I would have a conversation about in every single presentation I'm having.
And it's surprising that a lot of agents just don't bring up disability insurance.
Well, I think in some cases it's maybe because they're not comfortable with it, and you know that goes with any type of product. All of us agents will probably, if we're honest with ourselves, know that we're stronger in some product areas than we are in others. I know that I am. So it's just a matter of getting more familiar with how it works, how the benefits lay out, what are the costs, and you know, being able to communicate that to your agents. I think once you have that under your belt, it gets more and more familiar and easier to convey.
And can Penny support disability insurance for agents?
100%.
The overall process?
100%. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about in our A team at the top of the presentation. We have the internal team to help you process all of your applications as they come through. We have an internal underwriter that can help with underwriting, an internal wholesaler that can help you on the quoting end of things. You have access to us brokerage managers. We're here to assist you every step of the way, planning out your presentation, getting you prepared for it, and making it more comfortable.
And what about impaired risk?
Well, we're happy, we specialize in impaired risk. We can help with those troubled cases that a lot of you have on your desk that you haven't been able to place. That's a lot where our internal underwriter comes into play. He helps us peel back that onion and figure out where we can take cases at those times.
And this is a great question that came in. What types of clients tend to be the best candidates for disability insurance?
That is a good question. I would say, on the white collar end, you're going to get a lot of people in dentistry, a lot of doctors, hospital type people. That's a good market for the white collar side. Blue collar, I mean, it's endless the opportunities there. Teachers, city workers, you know, anything on the blue collar level, construction workers, it's endless and endless the amount of people and broad, all the broad forms of employment that could use a disability policy.
And the next question, how would you sell to business owners?
Well, you'd first have to sit down with that business owner and take a look at their business and see exactly, I would have conversations with them about what their expenses are, what their responsibilities are, what are the risks that are left if you had to take time away from the business. Um, Having through those conversations, you kind of identify how financially it would impact them, and then work with them to have a discussion about putting something in place to avoid that.
Another question that came in, how do I get contracted and how are commissions paid?
That's a great question. You can reach out to me directly to help you with contracting. I will help you with all that. And agents, as far as getting paid, can they clarify, or they mean how often do they get paid, or not sure if I understand that second part of the question.
Yeah, I would say they're looking at how would they first, how would they get contracted through Penny? Um, and then second, they're asking how do they get paid?
Yeah, I mean, that's up to the carrier. Some carriers pay on a daily basis, some pay on a weekly basis. It's usually one or the other. Very seldom is it a monthly basis where the commissions are paid out. And as far as commission levels go, those all vary. So those will all be conversations that will be had offline. They vary from carrier to carrier.
And then will presentation slides be available? To answer your question, Tim, absolutely. For anyone that wants a copy of the presentation, feel free to reach out to myself, or you can reach out directly to Chad, and his contact information is right there. We'll provide
Please,
you. Oh, I'm sorry, Chad, go ahead.
no, finish up, Chris. I'm sorry to cut in.
Oh, no worries. So feel free to reach out to Chad. Chad's probably the best person to reach out to because you have his contact information right there. And after this presentation, you'll also get everyone that registered will get a recording sent to them.
Yeah, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. My direct line is on there. If I don't pick up for whatever reason, leave me a voicemail, drop me an email. I'm very good about getting back to each and every one as quickly as I can. So love to have conversations with each and every one of you. If you have some cases that you've been thinking about, or some prospects you might be going after, maybe now's a good time to have a conversation.
And Patricia, I'll send a copy to you. No worries. And another question, what's the typical commission percentage?
I don't actually know an answer to that, but I can find one out. That's more something that's handled in the commissions department. But I can get that question answered, and I will. And if I can't, I will get you pointed towards our manager for the commissions department. She'll break down every single thing commissions related for you.
And let me see if there are any other questions. Oh, we have another question that came in. This is a great question. How do I get a quote?
Just reach out to me. I'll help you. Email me your information. I'll send you probably a questionnaire. If you got a quote that you got to do, I'll send you a questionnaire that you can fill out. That'll encapsulate all the information that we need, and I'll turn that into our internal quoter our internal quoter wholesaler, and we'll get that quote turned around for you really quick. So that'd probably be the quickest way to get your quotes taken care of. On top of that, you also can do your quotes inside of our portal that you'll have access to once you become appointed with us. So if it's something simple and you can go right in on your own, handle your own quotes. If it's something more complex you need help with, hand the ball off to me. I'll make sure that it gets turned around right away.
And I believe we covered all the questions. Chad, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say I'm glad, I'm excited to have this webinar, and happy to have each and one of you on the webinar. I know that there are so many webinars we're plugged into these days, and we have so many things we're juggling. So I'll thank you all, first of all, for taking the time this morning to talk a little bit about disability. It's a huge, huge thing that a lot of us are missing out on. And that's our focus going into this year, is making sure everybody's up to speed and has everything equipped to be able to handle those conversations and make those sales when they present themselves. So with that, I'll just say farewell till the next time. And please, any questions at all that this didn't cover, reach out to me and we can have a one-on-one and drill down further on anything you got.
All right, with that, I'll end the meeting, and a reminder to everyone, be sure to tune in every Thursday at 12 p.m. PST, where we have a webinar. We cover new topics as part of our educational series. So thank you all for joining us. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. You have a great rest of your Thursday.